I'm a mom. I am a partner. I am an activist. Love Southern food, maybe all food in general. Enjoys spending time with friends and family. I'm absolutely raising California children who cannot handle East Coast weather of any kind. Really believes that my work and what I do on a day-to-day basis, where I'm going to spend 60 plus hours a week of my time, should be something that is important to me, that's important to the world, that is something that I can look my children in the face and say that it's worthwhile. Like many, this wasn't my plan. My parents were social rights, social justice, social rights activists. They both were in the civil rights movement. And in some ways, I feel like I couldn't have avoided being involved in some form of a social justice movement. I think it's in my bones, it's in my blood, it's in my roots. Intimate partner violence has come up multiple times in my early volunteer opportunities. I worked with homeless families and when I was in high school, and in that process, it kept rising to the surface. Eventually, a few years later, I was in AmeriCorps and decided to become a sexual assault counselor. It was really there that I began to really understand what at the time, I wouldn't have been able to know the terminology, but was a lot of intimate partner sexual violence. Shortly after that, I took a position and a job at a dual domestic violence sexual assault agent. And in that process, that was really where I think I started down the road of examining my own family's history and background. And it still probably wasn't a few years later in which I was able to pinpoint where domestic violence and sexual violence had touched our family history. So I think the movement really found me in essence. I think there is something that feels natural about being support and helping someone through a significant trauma experience really becomes a form of intimacy. It's a human touch point that I think a lot of people don't often have an opportunity to do day in and day out. And I think the movement has just always been a place there, and it's been a place that I would now call home. I think at the base, at the core of this work, I firmly believe that what we're talking about is anti-oppression. I think we have, CORA, myself, I have a piece of this puzzle, but I will never have the entirety of it. The coming together of movements, of anti-oppression movements, domestic violence, racial justice, LGBTQ, immigration, the coming together of all of those movements is really where I think we're going to see and affect change. I don't think we can really piecemeal families, people, oppression in our society apart. I think that we can definitely address components. I think we can look at how we perpetuate domestic violence in our community. But I think if we really want to look at true social change, if we really want to have a society, a community where peace and freedom really exist for everyone, then we really have to see everyone, and we really have to address all forms of oppression. I think it's really important that we work in collaboration and at those intersections between the social justice movements. If we really want to affect change, we need to be at the center of the intersections. I think it's important to meet with other community leaders and other community organizers, if you will, at all of the intersections, not just those that are focused on anti-violence work. And I think from there, I would hope that we would really truly work on those collaborations and make sure that they know about CORA, make sure that we look at ways in which we can truly work together, really to be innovative about and to think outside of the traditional ways of addressing anti-violence work. CORA has an expertise. We have an expertise specifically in intimate partner abuse and violence. And that expertise, of course, needs to be recognized. That expertise brings a lot to the table. And what I hope is that we open up that table even more. I would love to see us exploring further opportunities in youth. I would love to do some network mapping and look at what our communities need. Where aren't we? Where are we not reaching? Where do families need support? How do we work with folks that are going inside the house further into a creative space around how we can end the violence in our communities? We've done so much in the last 40 years. And I firmly believe that we should never be complacent. The true impact is about social change. And CORA has always been a leader in this community. And CORA has always been present and ready to serve families and victims and survivors in this community. But now is a great time and a great opportunity. The staff are amazing. We have so much skill. We have so much support. San Mateo County really supports CORA. So we have a great opportunity to really step again into a creative and innovative space. Dr. Beth Ritchie talks about radical love. And the space of radical love is not about sort of the intimate love that most of us think about in our relationships or in our lives, but it's really about the calling in of people, the calling in of community. It's really about putting love first, and it's about loving through. And really what that means to me right now, or what I've been thinking about, is how do we love our community, our full community? So it's a broader space, and radical love is about calling all of that in. It's about welcoming in. It's about what I would consider true inclusion, but also love from a place of knowing that we can all do better, and that the only way we can do better is to do it together. And loving someone, loving our community, truly holding people doesn't mean we have to agree with them. It doesn't mean we have to forgive them necessarily, and it doesn't mean we have to accept the harm. But it does mean we have to understand that we are all part of this, and that it's going to take all of us and working all together in order to address it.